I'm ready, man. Let's go. Do this.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Three, two, one. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this special edition episode where I am with Lucky here. And he's actually coming from a massive, massive win in his bodybuilding career. So today, I'm just going to interview him, just really learn his learnings about in the bodybuilding world, how he started, where he is now, and how just get a sense of his world. So I can tell you now, I think I met Lucky about 2 years ago. Is it a year or two now, Lucky?
It's like 2 years now. Yeah, it's about 2 years now.
Yeah, it's about 2 years now. I introduced Herbalife to him. I believe he probably may have known about it. And that's how we connected. We connected at the gym. I saw him just taking videos of himself as he was working out. So I realized, okay, this person might be interested in sort of like collaborating when it comes to fitness, going together out there, networking with people and learning about just bettering ourselves in terms of money, personal development, and anything that can help us. So we connected and then we got into Herbalife. Did it work out? It did not work out, but now we are here and I saw him that he actually had a massive win when it comes to his bodybuilding career. And I thought, you know what, let's jump on a call. Let's hear his story. Let's hear what are the real nuggets that we can learn from him when it comes to fitness. So, Lucky, welcome, man. Welcome to this special edition.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, man. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, man, to speak to you about bodybuilding and just fitness and personal development as a whole, because I think it's a topic that like holds a lot of weight in my heart. Like that's what I want to be doing, what I want to pursue, and what I want to bring to the world. I feel like that's gonna be like my contribution to the world is just positivity, information, and teaching people about fitness and personal growth. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome, man. And thank you for coming. So we're just gonna get right into it and start with the interview. The first section of this part is that I'm going to get just a little bit of background in terms of how you started. So I guess my first question is, you know what, everybody has a starting point when it comes to fitness overall. And what I'm curious about is to what is the first thing that got you into fitness in general? What was that driving point that got you into fitness?
Okay, so my story is a bit funny because like I was a chubby kid growing up, right? But I also had a love for sports. Like so growing up, I was playing soccer, transitioned to basketball. As short as I am, I know it's funny. So like I was doing sports basically, soccer, basketball, and so on. And then with that, as much as I was fat, I was able to reduce a lot of weight whilst growing up as well. I guess part of puberty was part of that, like leaning out. And then that's where but like growing up, my granddad is the one who raised me. So growing up, he was a soccer player also, and he was a model. So it's always been a fitness type of lifestyle. At home, we had weights. So like there was a point where like I'm like, okay, there's weights here, there's guys from around where we stayed, and they would like come and say, let's go train, man, let's go lift weights and other thing. You know that phase whilst growing up, wanting to be buff and other things. So we did that for a while, but it wasn't like consistent. Like we would do it maybe for a month or two, and after that we wouldn't do it. But I'm talking about this. This was back like in 2008, 2007 there, you see. So yeah, my roots in like fitness and lifting weights go way back to then. I was still young then. I was still basically a baby. So yeah, that's how I fell in love with sports in general. And I feel like with me, it wasn't much like in terms of wanting to look a certain way. It was more like how I enjoy sports. Like I enjoyed lifting weights. I enjoyed like running and other things. So that's how I fell in love with fitness as a whole.
Oh, cool, man. Cool. Like that sounds great. Like, I think many of us don't get the we don't have families where sort of like fitness is a thing, especially in the Black community in South Africa. So I think that's great
That's
that
very
with
true.
your granddad, like he was already into it. And then I mean, naturally, when it comes to family, when you see elders in your family doing something, then you obviously as well just naturally get into this thing. So you mentioned something about wanting to be buffed. So, what's the one thing that led you to actually want to start lifting heavy weights? Like, you get into the gym, you were playing some sports, so naturally you have to be in shape. But now, what directed your attention to want to lift heavier weights and actually start bodybuilding?
It's a funny story. Like it wasn't even like wanting to bodybuild as such. You know, when you training with guys from the same area as you are, and funny enough, I was the youngest in the group of friends we had. So like we would always push each other to lift heavy weights and stuff like that. So that's where it all started. And then another friend of mine later on in the years, like I guess 2009, 2010 there was also like he was fat, like he was really chubby. So he wanted to lose weight also. So he would join me and we would train. We ended up just training the two of us. And yeah, and back then we would watch YouTube videos about fitness and like training and other things. And that's where we were introduced to this guy from America. It's called CT Fletcher.
So, but anyways, small waters, small waters. You were telling me about how you were actually getting into how you discovered bodybuilding and and
Yes, yes,
how
yes.
how you were seeing these competitions, and then you ultimately decided that, I'm going to start competing because now the gym is becoming normal, it's becoming too normal, and then you want to have something to look forward to. So you kind of discovered
True.
bodybuilding through seeing the competition. You saw there's such a thing, and let me just increase the stakes so that I can have something to look forward to because you were already in the gym then, man. So, Lucky, in the world in general, bodybuilding is kind of a rare sport. And, we don't live in a society where bodybuilding is openly and with enthusiasm being openly encouraged. So my question to you is like, how have you been able to stay consistent, even though like especially the nutrition that you need or people in general are just not that much into bodybuilding. So how have you been able to stay consistent, even though there are these outside factors?
Yeah, it is very hard, hey, to be a bodybuilder, especially in our environment that we live in, right? So, but yeah, I think I've been very blessed to have a network of people that are like-minded. Like, for instance, like the competition, my first competition when I went there, like as I said, I didn't only go there just to get experience and motivated to train, but to also build networks, right? So you like I always say, like people who beat me, the people I've beat on stage, and the people I meet, we all are family at the end of the day. We're brothers and sisters in arms, in iron as such. So like I've been very fortunate to also be part of this Facebook group called the Bodybuilding Mountain. It was founded by Thabo Maposa. Shout out to Thabo Maposa. He's doing he's playing a huge role in terms of developing bodybuilding as a whole, and he's also the development manager at the federation that I'm currently um, competing under. So I guess having like-minded people like that can keep you grounded and motivated to do your best. And going back to Tabo is one of my coaches. He's my opposing coach. So to be honest with you, I don't think I would have been able to like pull off this win basically that I just did without his help, because we had a posing session the day before, and they told me that tomorrow we are posing for the win, and that's exactly what happened. So yeah, so I guess the motivation is from the people that you compete with, the camaraderie. But as a whole, there's, as much as it's like a niche type of sports that not everyone knows about it and everyone is following it, but the people that are there are ride or die, like they are hardcore in there. And then there's people like Arnie Williams, who's the president of the federation currently working, that I'm currently competing under. He's also done a lot for the sport, like having shows and other things. Like, which other president of a federation do you know that also goes watch other shows and just supports other shows, even if they're not part of his federation? Bodybuilding is, as much as I'll be alone on stage, it's a teamwork, man. Because, like, support structure, you have coaches. Like, right now, I also like to give a shout out to my coach, Stephen Fo. He's an IBFF pro, right? So he took me on. He took me on as my coach because prior to that I didn't have any coach, and then he's been the different maker. To be honest with you, like he took me on like for my last two shows last year, and all the shows this year. So my last two shows last year, he took me on, and then my first show with him, I got my first ever third place in the federation. So yeah, so that was a difference maker. And then we went on to do all Africa, and then I got first place, and I got fourth place and fifth place. But then uh taking that momentum from last year to this year, man, like this year has been a fairy tale for me in terms of competing, man. Like first ever wins. I got like 3 wins this year so far, and the year's not over yet. So yeah, but speaking on that, my goal right now is my current goal is to 10 pro, because initially my goal was to win my class. So we've already done that this year. I've won like maybe 3 different competitions, like in my classes in 3 different competitions now. So yeah, that was the first goal that we achieved. Right now we're just trying to get my pro card, and with this win that we just did right here at Pro Diva, right, we are qualified for Mr. Universe that's happening this year. So it's going to be an international show. It's going to be people from other countries competing. So that's going to be a whole new ball game for us. So now, not only have we jumped the hurdle of winning a class like in our local shows, now we're going to compete against international competitors, which is insane to think about it. And I still don't believe it. I'd like to give thanks to the people in charge of the federation for giving us this opportunity. And
What is your target? What are you trying to achieve overall? What is a specific body body muscle mass, or a specific body weight percentage, or maybe even it might be a specific body weight that you're trying to get to? What would you say is your goal at the current moment?
yeah, so the goal right now is just to improve on everything, like improve my conditioning, bring up weaker body parts, like for instance, my back, I want my back to get even more detailed. I need to work on my lower body, my hamstrings. They need to show more detail and have better definition, because from the front, my legs look proper, but from the back, they still need some work. So we're gonna work that. That is gonna require harder dieting and training, and to bring up my arms and my calves. Yes, my calves need to come up a whole lot. So yeah, that's the goal for now. Like just to be consistent, work on our diet, work on supplementation, hopefully find sponsors to help us through this journey because it's not easy, you know, and bodybuilding is very expensive. So it's easy for people to just look at bodybuilders on stage and be like, oh yeah, he just trains and he went on stage. But there's a lot going on because you have to diet for a certain number of months to get to a body composition, body conditioning for you to be able to be competitive on stage. So it's different in terms of sports, unlike other sports. Other sports, for you to win, you have to perform on the day. With bodybuilding, you have to perform weeks and weeks before the show. The moment you're on the show, the only thing that's left for you to do is to present your body in the best light. But the bulk of the work is done already. So bodybuilding is a sport whereby you have to perform every single day. You have to yeah, so we put in the work every single day. Unlike other sports whereby they practice, we don't practice. We are actually performing for the final day. So we're constantly doing the work in order to get the best results. So that's bodybuilding in a nutshell.
Oh man, that's good to hear about bodybuilding. So when it comes to bodybuilders, like you mentioned the word composition. So I'm quite curious as to what is like a typical body composition because I know yes there probably are different weight classes. But I'm more interested, let's say for your weight class, I'm sure you can mention what's your weight class or the class that you compete in. And also I'm interested in knowing what is like a good body fat percentage. What is like a typical body fat percentage that a bodybuilder should they usually aim for? So what that percentage or what is like their
All right. Yeah, like I was saying, in terms of bodybuilding, you're asking about criterias and judging and of bodybuilding. So in bodybuilding, there's like weight classes, there's height classes, but then there's also different divisions. Like there's men's physique division. Men's physique divisions, they wear broad shorts and they just show their upper bodies and their legs. And then we have classic bodybuilding, which is basically, wait, first of all, men's physique is more like a beach body type of look. But because it's bodybuilding, it has evolved to, as much as it's a bodybuilding, as much as it's a beach body look, it's also muscular. You have to show muscle, you have to show abs, six-pack abs, a big chest, a big back, and then we have classic bodybuilding or classic physique, which is like basically bodybuilding, but it's more of the beauty side of things, whereby people who are blessed with a beautiful structure showcase bodybuilding, and it's not as heavily muscled as bodybuilding. And then we have bodybuilding, whereby it's all about muscle, but uh judging criteria and all of this is symmetry, um okay, mass, of course, definition, muscle definition, showing all the cuts, and skin texture goes a lot into that, because if you have a thin skin texture, you are able to show your muscles more, able to show the cross striations whatsoever. So that's bodybuilding generally. Like yeah, so that's that. And the my previous win, I won it under muscle model division. So like from the help of Tabo Maposa and Nico Costa, who's like the head judge of South Africa for our federation, and Annie William, who's the vice president of the world for our federation, all had a chat with me and said, listen, with your body structure, you fit best in muscle model. So that's how I ended up competing in muscle model, because of my body structure. And I won. So bodybuilding as a whole is about conditioning, separate muscle separation, uh, muscle definition, and all that. But then there are certain criteria for different divisions, and those are based on your genetics. So it's important to have a network of people who can guide you. Like, for example, to tell you, okay, with your body structure, you fit in this division more, and you could most probably do well in this division. So I appreciate those guys for that. And then that's it. That's bodybuilding for you. That's what we do.
Oh, so it's more like it's not fat percentage, but it's muscle division. It's not.
Yes, yes. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry about that. Obviously, fat percentage goes into that because you won't be able to show your muscles properly if you have a high fat body fat percentage, right?
Mhm.
So typically with men, I don't want to speak much about women because I'm not too sure, but with men, you start showing six-pack abs around about 12% to about 10% body fat percentage. Now, having a six-pack is what we also want to see because it forms part of the overall bodybuilding criteria. So, uh, for you to do extremely well or to do decently well, to show all your muscle, I would say you should try to at least get a body fat percentage of about 10 or below. 10 or below. It can go all the way up until 4% body fat, but 4% is mostly professionals, professional bodybuilders that go to that level because they do it more and they have all the resources, like in terms of nutrition, in terms of diet coaches and whatsoever to push it to that level. Because yeah, but then between 10 and 4% body fat, like there's a vast difference. With that you can be able to show your muscle properly and get rewarded for that. So I for one don't think I've ever dropped, maybe if at all I've dropped to the least amount of body fat, it would be maybe around 10 or maybe just a bit below 10. So but we are working towards getting even a lower body fat percentage for our upcoming competition because it's going to be an international show, so the stakes are much higher.
Oh, so I'm thinking about your training schedule. I'm quite interested in that. Like, do you have different phases throughout the week where you train differently? Like, let's say 6 months, or how does your training schedule look like? Maybe on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, or maybe on a quarterly basis, all the way leading up to a competition.
Okay, so yeah, my training schedule, to be honest with you, like usually people train about 5 days a week. That's a typical training schedule. But when I'm like deep in competition prep, like my mind and everything, because it's also a mental game, I literally like train 7 days a week, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
I train 7 days a week, and with those 7 days a week, I try to uh train my muscle groups, like different muscle groups, at least 2 times in the whole week. So I'll do maybe chest. I'll train chest twice a week. I'll train my back twice a week, my arms twice a week, my legs twice a week, and then stuff like abs, like core. I actually use that as a warm up. So I train core almost every day, but maybe one or two exercises just to keep it tight. And then as I get closer to the competition, that's when I'll start adding uh more exercises for the core so that it can be crisp on stage. So yeah, like right now we about 12, maybe 15 weeks out of my international show, but I'll start like maybe putting blinders on and strictly focusing on training and everything around about 12 weeks out. Those 12 weeks will be strict
Mm.
so as to get what we want in terms of competition and outcomes.
So 12 weeks is now like 3 months, I believe. 4, 4, 4, yeah, 3 months. So
Yes.
how now is your diet going to change? So let's say, I mean, now you're coming from a competition, eh? So let's say maybe in a 6 month period, by my understanding, there's usually like a building phase, a cutting phase, or a maintenance phase. So I would like to know how those phases work for you. Like when you are building, how do you usually eat? What is like your target calories maybe per day? And also when you're cutting, how does then now your diet look like? Or maybe when you're in like a maintenance phase, how does your diet look then?
Okay, awesome. Firstly, yes, there is like a building phase and a cutting phase. But to be honest with you, because I'm still like most of the time I'm still trying to drop weight to below 70 kgs. I haven't really been super strict on my building phase. Like I would train like extremely hard whatsoever, but usually on a building phase, which is referred to as a bulking season, you'd maybe double your calories, double the amount of food you eat so as to be able to have those amounts of calories to use to be able to build muscle, right? So to be honest with you, I haven't been doing that because I was scared that if I were to gain too much weight, it would be hard for me to drop back down to meet my weight cap. It would take much longer because, yeah, so like a typical weight for me, like walking around weights without actually trying to train heavy, without having to cut food or increase food, is around 73 to about 75 kgs. So yeah, I keep it at that. So I've never really had much of a bulk phase. I had in the past, like I've gotten up to about 83 kgs, but then that took me a longer time to diet back down. So like for me, because I want to be able to get back to that lower weight, I don't really add too much weight on the off season, but I try to train harder whilst eating maybe at a maintenance. And then when it comes to cutting down, for me to cut weight, what I do is I would reduce the amount of food I eat. I know I don't really count calories, which is something I need to start working on towards cutting calories so I can have a better and more like scientific approach to doing things. But I do a conscious effort to reduce the amount of food I eat. Like when I diet down, I don't drink cold drink anymore, strictly water. I have vegetables, I have protein, and my carb source at that time would just be rice. So I'd cut off things like pap and other things. You'd cut off sweets and other things and have a strict diet of like eating maybe vegetables and chicken, vegetables and fish, rice and those things. So I use that in terms of to give me a caloric deficit. Whilst I'm in a caloric deficit, then I'm able to cut fat and lose weight. So I do that simultaneously with increasing cardio.
Okay.
So I'll start off maybe at about 30 minutes of cardio. So I'll just go on the treadmill, incline treadmill, just zone two cardio. What do I mean by zone two cardio? It's not texting like I'm running. No, I'm actually walking so I can be able to breathe properly. I'm able to hold a conversation. But that is what I do for like maybe 30 minutes the first week. I increase it to 45 minutes the next week, like 5 times a week. And I've gone all the way up until 2 hours of cardio session in a day. That's when
Oh,
I'm really trying to drop weight and maybe time is not on our side. So yeah, that's that. And the reason we do maybe zone two cardio in terms of like fat burning, it's it's an well-known fact. It's just that in the bodybuilding and fitness generally, that if you start running on a treadmill, you'll be burning more of carbohydrates than fats. So when you walk on the treadmill, zone two cardio, that's where your body is able to use fat as a fuel source. So you are able to burn fat instead of carbohydrates.
Oh,
doing that. Because when you text your muscle, like when you're training, your body uses carbohydrates as a fuel source.
oh,
But the moment you start having zone two cardio, meaning it's yes, it's called a zone two cardio. Zone two cardio, whereby your body is able to tap into your fat stores for energy rather
oh,
than tapping into carbohydrates.
mm,
So the moment you start running on the treadmill, you'll be burning more carbohydrates than fats.
oh,
So that's not what we're trying to do. We are trying to burn fats. That's why we do zone two cardio.
oh. No, that's very interesting. That nugget about zone two cardio. I'm gonna write it down here. So basically, you're just trying to get to a point whereby, yes, you are using up energy, but you are having your body. We're just gonna run out of time. But anyways, you are using up energy, but you're trying to get your body to actually use fat
Fat,
as a fuel source rather than your
yes,
natural carbohydrates that will like take away from your muscles in a sense.
true, true.
No, man,
Yes,
that's
that's what
great.
we're trying to do.
That's good. That's good to hear, man. Awesome, awesome. I'm back. So
Some.
things are gonna get a little bit zesty. I'm gonna ask you straight away. Lucky, do you use steroids?
Oh no, no, I don't use steroids. Not yet. Like I've been doing my research in terms of steroid use and whatsoever, and most of the time that I've done my research, I've come to the conclusion that where I am right now, I don't really need to use steroids. But
Mhm,
if if at all, like I said, if at all we reach our goal of turning pro, whereby now the stakes are higher and like the standard is higher,
mhm,
then I would most probably revisit my research, and then maybe from there, then I would need to take something. But currently, no, no steroids, just supplements. We're using fat burners, we're using pre-workouts, we're using protein shakes
mhm.
and the likes. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's what we're using for now.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So, from your research about steroids that you personally did, what would you say are two things that you learned positive about steroids and two things that are really like negative about steroids?
Well, okay, in terms of saying the cons, like saying the positive, obviously it will allow me to build muscle and to be able to grow and be more productive in the sports. But then another thing that people don't understand, steroids are not all negative. Like there's people that are deficient of maybe, let's say, testosterone, so they use HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy. So they would use stuff like testosterone, but not super physiological doses, just but doses that would maybe be on the higher range of naturals, and then to further improve their health and other things. So those are the positives. The negative is that as much as that there are good uses of steroids, there's also steroids that have very negative side effects, like maybe increasing your rage and other things, messing with your natural production of testosterones and the like. So those are the negatives. But then if you are able to do your research properly, I wouldn't say you can use steroids in a healthy manner, but you can most certainly reduce the side effects to the bare minimum.
Okay.
So yeah, that's that.
Mm. No, man. So you mentioned supplements. So you do take supplements to help you along your bodybuilding journey.
Yes, I do. In fact, uh, I would say that I use a lot of supplements, and then I could say I depend on them, but
Mhm.
then it would be counter to the term supplement, because supplement is something that would just supplement your diet. So what you cannot get from your diet, then you can get maybe from supplements. So there's that. So yeah, I use a lot of supplements. Like for example, a very nice supplement that I use is creatine monohydrate, which apparently we produce ourselves in the body, but we don't produce much of it or enough of it to have effects that we want. So the effects that we end up getting from creatine monohydrate that we supplement, you wouldn't otherwise get from your natural source of creatine. That's that. And then I use fat burners, obviously it's in the name, to try and burn fat and maintain muscle. We use I use pre-workout. Pre-workout is just so that I can be able to have the energy to train at the gym. So yeah, those are the supplements that I'm using basically. And I use a multivitamin because I believe that having enough vitamin and minerals will help you build muscle and other things. With everything, I feel like we need to have a balance. So I need to check all the boxes in terms of my nutrient requirements in terms of vitamins and minerals. So I take multivitamins for that.
Okay. So, like, just to get an overall sense of how things have changed in terms of your diet, like over the years, from the first day you actually started getting into fitness, how would you say overall your diet has changed? Uh, since you started working out, you were into normal fitness, like because of sports, and now you thinking of getting into pro. I mean, you're already making plans to get into pro bodybuilding. So, how would you say your diet has changed or has evolved over the many years?
Okay, yeah, diet is a very interesting one because when you do sports like either than bodybuilding, at the end of the day, you're not looking at physical appearance. So you would eat maybe a lot of carbohydrates, and because that's what you would need, carbohydrates maybe for you to be able to perform like run and other things. So for sports purposes, thingy diet is more centered on performance, whilst with bodybuilding, because at the end of the day we are looking at physical appearance. Physical appearance is you need to have a low body fat percentage. So for us to get that, you'd most probably try to limit your carbohydrates. You limit your carbohydrates so that you'd eat carbohydrates but sparingly, because then by you doing so, you're allowing your body to maybe use those carbohydrates. And when it's deficient and doesn't have any carbohydrates, then it starts tapping into the what? To the fat stores for energy. So that's what we want. Because we want to burn fat, we need to limit our carbohydrates. We can take our carbohydrates. Mostly we'd like to take our carbohydrates around our training session, maybe the meal before training, get your carbohydrates in so you can have the energy to maybe train. And after that, when you're done with that, maybe you can eat your carbohydrates then to refuel your body so that it's able to repair muscle and whatsoever. But that's what we do. We limit our carbohydrates. We increase our protein so that we can maintain thingy. We can maintain muscle, and then we also use a bit of fat. We use it so that you can increase satiety and other things, and for your natural flow of your body. Like for example, for you to have and to produce testosterone as a male, you need to have about 10% body fat. So the moment it dips below 10% body fat, then your hormones are not balanced. So you need to maybe add on those fats so that you can try and balance your hormones and other things.
So, and now looking into the future, like when you get into more pro, more professional bodybuilding and you start competing at a higher level, um, You did mention that you might have to review your research around steroids and how they can assist you, and obviously in a safe manner. But in terms of diet specifically, what do you think for the future you personally are going to have to change in order for you to be able to now compete at a way higher level than where you are now?
In terms of diet, I don't think there's much to be changed. It's just more of being strict and maybe being on a caloric deficit for a much longer time.
Mhm.
But then it's just to be more vigilant of day-to-day changes based on your calorie needs and your food intake. Because mostly, like let's say for example, a person who's weighing about 70 kgs, for you to maintain weight, you'd need maybe 2,000 calories just for interest sake. I'm not sure on the numbers, but I'm just saying for interest sake, for a 70 kg person, your maintenance calories would be 2,000 calories, right? And then for you to be able to lose fat, you'd need to have maybe a 500 calorie deficit. So you'd reduce those calories from 2,000 to 1,500. And then you drop the weight. The moment you drop the weight and you get to about like 67, 68, those 67, 68, maybe they require that weight requires you to have maybe 1,800 calories to maintain the weight, right? So
Mhm.
you need to further drop those calories in order to carry on losing weight. So at the end of the day, caloric intake is uh, based upon your goal in terms of weight and body composition on stage. So I
Mhm.
guess it's just being more strict on those things. So nothing much in terms of the actual food, just to be strict on counting calories and then not missing a meal, not missing a beat, just consistency, consistency. That's all it is. I don't think there's much that's going to change apart from that. Maybe, if any, would be maybe my source of proteins. Maybe I'll switch over from, let's say, chicken to fish, because apparently there's research behind the fact that uh certain proteins have certain is it peptides or whatsoever that informs this texture of your skin. So fish has certain peptides, let's just say peptides for lack of a better term, that would help you reduce your skin thickness. So in order to show more visible muscle. So
Okay.
maybe that's the thing I would change basically, just maybe different sources of protein based on the advantages of such things.
Mm. No, man. No, awesome, awesome. So we're going to get into the next section where we will talk about IBFF. So I just wanted to say, man, you know what? Congratulations on your recent win. I
Thank you
wish
so
you
much. Thank
much,
you so
much, much,
much.
much, much more success. I hope that you definitely grow in the sport so that you can achieve the goals that you want to achieve yourself. So congrats, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that.
Awesome, 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 awesome. So IBFF, what does it stand for and what is that organization all about?
Okay, so the IBFF is International Bodybuilding
Mm-hmm.
uh and Fitness Federation.
Mm.
So that's the term. It's an international bodybuilding federation that's like with everything, like it's a sport, you are there to showcase your sports. But what's different with this federation, unlike other federations, let's say, that are around in SA or whatsoever, is that they heavily believe in developing athletes. That's why it's like the vice president of the world in terms of IBFF, Annie Williams, says that our federation is a development federation because we pay attention in developing people from the ground up as development athletes, which is very huge for us people, especially us guys from the townships who don't have much resources on other things. Like, we are able to go there, showcase showcase our physique, showcase our potential, and then have people like Ani, as I said, people like Thabo Maposa, who can help us like reach our full potential in terms of bodybuilding as a whole. Like they'd give us tips here and there. And yeah, because like to be honest with you, bodybuilding is very expensive, and some of us we don't have access to maybe let's say a seasoned coach in bodybuilding who can tell you do this, as much as that they can even tell you that maybe you don't have the cash or the resources to be able to stick to the diet. But that's why
Okay. Mm,
people like Ani, people like Thabo Maposa, people like Steve for like I said is an IBFF pro who took me on and is working with me. He has his own coaching business. Like he charges people money to coach them, but
mm.
he took me under his wing and then he took it upon himself to help me develop and be the best that I can be. So I feel like as much as we can say it's a federation that you compete under, but it's also a family
Mm.
when I refer to IBFF because it's very tightly woven. Like this, everyone is there trying to help you, trying to see that you do the best in what you're doing. And like it's a means of getting like people like us, like young people from the township out of the township and be able to focus on something that could be beneficial to them in the future. So that's the IBFF for you.
And how did you discover it? I know you mentioned that you were sort of watching some bodybuilding competitions or some maybe into in the magazines or even videos. So how did you discover IBFF in particular?
Okay, so like I said, I was initially just a member of the bodybuilding mountain fitness page on YouTube on Facebook. It's also there on Instagram and on TikTok, and it was founded by Thabo Maposa, who's the development manager at IBFF. So like I would go there and like post maybe pictures from my show that I did. Like that show that I did, I remember I told you it was non-federated, so it was a standalone show. So it wasn't under any federation. And then Tabo reached out to me, like, hey man, you should come and compete with us. We're having a show, development show in Soweto. I was like, yeah, I'm from Soweto. I stay in Soweto. It's like in my backyard. So okay, I've been doing this maybe for about a year now. So I guess let me just join the federation and see where it goes. And then I don't regret joining this federation because it's a very awesome federation. And yeah, it was done from there.
So you mentioned this earlier, and I want to just touch back to it to understand what are the different classes when it comes to what, especially specifically for IBFF, like what are the specific classes of competition and how are they differentiated among each other?
When you say classes, are you talking about like bodybuilding classes, or are you talking about in terms of like shows that you do?
Um, let's okay, let's start with the first one with what you mentioned, bodybuilding classes. What are those? How are they differentiated? And and like you said, that people can advise you based on your body type. This is a class which you may do better in. So bodybuilding classes, how they are and how do they work?
Okay, so we have different bodybuilding classes. I'm just gonna mention the classes in terms of males. Like there's also female classes. It's just that I'm not super conversant on that one or
Mhm.
familiar with them. But yeah, so in bodybuilding we have men's physique. Men's physique, you remember I told you is the ones with the broad shorts. It's more like a beach body type of look, but because at the end of the day, it's a physique competition. So now we're looking for muscle, we're looking for midsection definition and stuff like that. And then we have classic physique. Classic physique is more of the beautiful structure, beautiful silhouette, not as big as bodybuilding, but very appealing to the eye. So classic physique is more of the mainstream. Like people who don't follow bodybuilding could look at a classic physique guy or look at a men's physique guy because of the beach body. I mean, like that's a beautiful physique that they would want to inspire to doing
Mm-hmm.
because let's be honest, bodybuilding is a niche sport. Like not a lot of people want to look like that guy. That guy is huge. They be like, that guy is huge and just admire from afar, but they wouldn't say that's what I want to attain. But they would say that for classic physique, they would say that for men's physique. But then there's also other divisions, like for example, as much as there's bodybuilding, there's also like bodybuilding, but in terms of junior bodybuilding for the guys who are still young. There's amateur bodybuilding for the people who maybe are still doing their first few shows. They haven't gotten the feet weights as such. And then there's bodybuilding. In bodybuilding, this in men's physique and in classic physique, there's weight classes. So, but those weight classes are dependent upon height. So for a certain height, there's a certain weight class. So for my height, I would have to weigh in at about 63 kgs. So different heights have different weights in classic physique and men's physique. And then when it comes to bodybuilding, it's just a weight class. So it doesn't matter how tall you are, but if you can get to a certain weight, under a certain weight, then you can compete under that class. And then, like I said, the criteria would be muscle definition, conditioning, skin texture, showing of striations, the silhouettes, meaning the shape of the whole structure, and being proportional, not having maybe certain body parts bigger than the other or certain body parts smaller than the other. It needs to be flow. When you say it flows, then it means that um, each body part, although they might not be the same size, but in terms of structure wise, they flow together, they look proper together, they're proportional. So that's bodybuilding in the criteria.
No, awesome, man. And let's say somebody is watching this interview and they want to sort of start participating in bodybuilding. So, how does one get in general, or how does one get started?
Okay, like I said, there's different federations with different shows. So first of all, you'd have to pick a federation that you would want to maybe compete under, or maybe you can compete under. Initially, you can do a non-federated bodybuilding show, meaning a standalone show. There's one that happened like yesterday. It's called the Chairs Classic Bodybuilding Show. Like it was a standalone show. A lot of my friends or brothers, as say, from the IBFF went to do that show just to like compete because at the end of the day, we have that itch of wanting to compete. But yeah, the truth is there's different federations. So you decide on the federation that you'd want to join. After that, then you'd maybe follow that federation on Facebook or whatsoever. They're gonna post the shows that they're having. But then the important thing is there's a affiliation fee. So an affiliation fee is a fee that you'd pay maybe once a year so that you can be able to do those competitions. So you have an affiliation fee and then you have a registration fee. The registration fee is like the yeah, registration fees like the competition fee. Like for the day of the show, you have to have pay that registration fee so you can be able to compete that day. That one you pay show to show, and different
Okay.
shows have different registration fees, but the affiliation fee is once off. And when you pay it, you have a card that says, okay, you are affiliated to compete under this federation. So every time you go to a show, you need to produce that card. If you don't, you'd be expected to pay the affiliation fee and the registration fee again. So yeah, that's that. So basically, I would advise people that if they're gonna be starting along in their journey, the best federation for you would be the IBFF because like I say, it's a developmental federation. We all say that. So you'll get people that will be able to help you, to guide you and say, listen, for your structure, this is what you want you to do. Because at the end of the day, people in our federations are not there just for the money to make money off the athletes in terms of registration fees and affiliation fees, but because they are passionate about bodybuilding. Everyone, even our judges used to compete. Some of them still do. Even our vice president of the world used to be a bodybuilder. So these people are people that our federation is of bodybuilders for bodybuilders. So hence I say that if you were to join this federation, you'd be getting the help of such people. They'll be telling you, listen, you'd fit well in this certain division because of your body structure and whatsoever. Because if you maybe to go to other federations, let's say maybe, I'm not saying that's how they are, but some federations maybe they're all about the money. So you're gonna say you want to compete at this division, you want to do this, and they're like, okay, take your money, and then you compete there to find that you didn't stand a chance because you don't meet the criteria. With everything, with every division, there's a certain criteria for you to be able to even get a proper look at you in terms of like saying, okay, this guy is competing for first place. You have to have a certain criteria. You need to meet certain standards. Hence, I'm saying that in our federations, when you register, the person who registers you down, who takes your weights and other things, tell you, listen, which division do you want to do? You tell them, and then if they agree, they agree. If they don't, they say, listen, I think you'd fit better in this division after having looked at your physique. So that's very important for me. I feel like to have people that are hands-on that can help you on the journey, because if you were to just have this mindset that I've been training for a certain number of years, and then you just go to a show and then you go into a bodybuilding a bodybuilding class or whatsoever that you don't meet requirements of, it's very easy to get discouraged. It's very easy to get discouraged, and then because you didn't place well, you didn't do well. So that's that.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I just have last two questions. Wait, Teto. Yeah, I'll get it. I'll get it. Ne? No, Skawara Teto. Wait, Teto, go back to the TV, Teto. So, like, yeah, I just have last two questions, and you did touch on what are the judges looking for when it comes to IBFF like criterias. So I'm thinking more in terms of mindset, especially staying consistent, having the consistency, the willpower to keep on training, because really as a bodybuilder, you are performing every day when you go into the gym. The show is just the results, but you are performing every day when you go in there. So, what mindset does it really take for you to be so consistent in the background so that you can ultimately win on stage? Like, what is that mindset like? The mindset needed for you to stay consistent and win?
Yeah, mindset is a very big one. Hey, it's a very big one because you need to be able um to, let's say, pull yourself back. Like there's always negative thoughts. Like in terms of bodybuilding and such, like you said, you perform every day. So for you to be able to say, no, listen, I have to eat this certain number of calories, but I'm craving an ice cream, and then it's not part of the plan, and it's going to take me out of my diet. You need to be strong-willed in order to be able to say, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to focus and stick to my plan. So hence I'm saying that a very important thing is to have a support structure. The moment I'm like, oh, like I'm feeling like taking this or whatsoever, I feel like giving up or quitting, I can maybe talk to someone from the federation or someone I know personally as a bodybuilder to say, hey man, I'm struggling with this, and have them advise me on that. So hence I'm saying that bodybuilding is a team sport. I wouldn't be able to do this without my coach. I wouldn't be able to do this without my family. I wouldn't be able to do this without my support structure, you see. So with everything, it's a team sport. Although I'm the only one standing on stage, but it's a team sport. And I feel like if you have good people on your side that will encourage you to do better,
Mm-hmm.
then you're winning. You're winning. Although sometimes you might have that bit of a cheat meal here or there. Let's say maybe you lost the battle that day, like you crave something and you ended up having it. It's not the end of the world. You might have cheated that day, but then you have to work harder to try and work off those extra calories and stick to it. So you know there's always going to be hiccups, but what defines a champion is getting back from those hiccups and working even harder at the end of the day to pull off the win.
Ah, awesome, man. Awesome. Those are quite powerful words. And my last question is, what is the best piece of advice that you have came across, or maybe you have sort of like discovered that you would give to somebody right now who's watching this video and is actually interested into getting into bodybuilding?
Okay, the best advice I would give you is that, and it's something I've learned from bodybuilding as a whole. Like I say, you perform every day. So the effort you put in today is not necessarily, you're not going to see the results today. You're going to see the results in the future. So you need to have that in mind in terms of saying that you need to work hard every single day, and then your future self will thank you later. Because, like, with me, like I said, like this year, I've won like three shows, three competitions, having never won anything, having been getting second places and third places for about 3 years. So only now I'm starting to see the benefits of the work I started putting in the first time I said I want to start preparing for a bodybuilding competition. Only now I'm seeing the results.
Hmm.
Hence, I say that you need to put in the effort now and have uh delayed thingy thingy gratification as
Hmm.
such. So delayed gratification in the sense that you put in the work today, don't expect to see the results of what you put in today. You'll see it in the future. Hence, your future self will thank you for the work you put in today. Having that in mind, you need to be able to try and work hard every day to improve your life in whatever way you can. And then your future self will thank you later.
Ah, awesome, man. And just powerful words to really end this interview. Thank you for coming. And you guys heard it, like the effort that you put in today will yield results in the future. So, well done to you, Lucky, on your recent win. I
Thank you.
believe there are many, 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 many more wins coming up. And just as a closing remark to everybody who's watching this, yeah, I would just like to say if this video has actually added any value to you, just subscribe below in this page, and as well as so just subscribe below in this page. Give it a like, comment on any questions that you have. I'm gonna give the floor to Lucky just also so that he can tell us how we can connect to him, like his social media platforms. I'll also link them in the video so that if you want to connect with him afterwards, you can do so. But other than that, just like, subscribe, and share with anybody that can get value from this video. So lastly, like, how can actually people connect to you after this?
Okay, thank you so much. People can connect with me via Facebook. Facebook, it's Lucky Zingeni. And then I have a TikTok account. TikTok, it's Lucky Zingeni. And then on Instagram, it's King J underscore bodybuilding. So they can get me on those platforms and never hesitate to contact me about anything, man. We I'm working on trying to get my YouTube video on. So I'm gonna start posting YouTube videos and talking about what we've been talking about, basically on the thought process behind doing a bodybuilding competition and other things, and show them maybe sneak peeks into what we do as bodybuilders and stuff like that. So if they'd be interested in that, then just stay tuned and I'll most probably create my channel soon enough. And then I'd also reach out to you, Amo, for help. Like we said, we are working on, we're speaking about working on putting more content out there. So the guys should definitely look out for that. We'll get that to them as fast as possible. And thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
No,
Nothing more to say.
awesome. And thank you to everybody who has been watching the whole interview up until this point. So until next time, I will see you soon. My name is Amu Mhlayivana. Sharp, sharp.